My name is Samantha Hone, and I am here to talk about the family court process and what it's like to go through it. It's very grueling and brutal, to say the least. I wish I would have known what I know now back when I started. But I'm grateful for the experience and what I have learned going through it. Domestic violence is a very hard thing. I think a lot of people don't even realize they're in domestic violence relationships because it doesn't always have to be physical. It doesn't The physical normally, I feel like, is dying down unless it's very, very severe. At least for me, when I would call him out on the behavior, that's when it would stop. He would hit me, he pushed me, he held me down by my neck when I tried to leave. Um, I look back and think if I would have left in those times, would I be here and going through what I was going through now? Because we weren't married at the time. I could have just left. But I would never want to do that for him. He also made me feel like if I left, that I'm the problem essentially. I'm the one that didn't want the relationship. I was trying to change him, and so before I left, I felt like I had to know that everything between us was gone, and I did. It took 10 years, but I waited for me to feel loved and wait for him to step up to the plate and do the things that he said he was always going to do. And essentially that was just love me, ask me on dates, hang out with me in the house. I liked to um, refinish furniture. I like to have multiple sources of income, and I just want to be successful. So I want to build. And he spent all his time on video games, which is where he decided to delegate his time. I'm not going to get mad or upset with somebody over what they do with their time, but where I did get upset and it wasn't even upset, I would just tell him I didn't feel loved, and he would tell me that, again, I didn't want the relationship. I was trying to change him as he spun me in circles. And so getting out of the relationship was even harder. After being with a man for 10 years, I saw a person I had never seen before. My life was threatened. Uh, Name severe emotional abuse to the point he pushed me to be manic. I was so afraid that something was going to happen. I was always looking everywhere I went, walking into work because that's where they had sent somebody after me. Um, while I was in jail recently, I spent 146 days in the Utah County Jail. Falsely, I did not need to be in there. APNP recommended I do 2 days. I did 146. Um, while I was there, though, again, I worked on myself and healing from that relationship and forgiving him for what he had done. I think that is one of the biggest things that has helped me is just recognizing he's human too, and he doesn't understand what he's doing is abusive. And one day when it does hit him, he will feel the guilt and the pain of what he put me through. Until then, I just have to tread lightly. Um, Really, we just don't talk. There's no communication. I hope for one day there to be a friendship, but he is still abusing me by taking $640 a month in child support, but more than that, because I'm being garnished for the back child support, as he lied about his income on the child support evaluation paperwork. And the court knows it. They had verified his income previously. The court did nothing to help me or protect me. Where before any of these charges came about, I was a state witness. I came forward with evidence that he had trespassed and poached. because I was in fear of my life. The cops would not help me, and so one day he just pissed me off. He was not doing what he said he was doing, and so I called the DNR and I told them, and they came out to my work, and I gave them the coordinates of where he had shot an elk, a bull elk, and the state told me that they protect their witnesses, and I believed in that heavily, heavily. But if the state protected their witnesses, they would have put a protective order in place as soon as I moved out. In place for me, not him. Because that essentially would have saved me from everything. But instead, they tried charging me with burglary and then the protective order, and he violated me on it. 2 days after my son's baptism, he was at my son's baptism, and 2 days later, I showed up to my son's doctor's appointment, and I'm being arrested because he's calling the cops. So it's whenever and wherever, however they want, if they want to violate, protective orders are very gray. And what I didn't understand was that officers have to arrest on calls they get that are violating the protective order or domestic violence. They have to arrest on those. Where cops had been out to my house 9 times in 14 days, 2 weeks essentially, before I had moved out, and they had told us the next time we come out here, somebody's getting arrested. So, and that's where I had learned in jail, where they were trying to charge me with burglary. Um, you have to have intent to commit a crime, and I never had intent to commit a crime. I just had intent to get my stuff back and that I needed, and then they just made it all worse. Not only that, harassment with the court, that's another thing. He's just been harassing me with the court, which is illegal. And I think it's time for it all to change. I hope to be part of that influence and that voice and inspire a movement of change in the justice system and how to recognize behavior to start helping victims, not the actual criminal or person doing the behavior. I love the song Morgan Wallen sings, "I'm the Problem," because if I'm the problem, you might be the reason. And I would rather be the problem than the reason. You can keep cleaning up the problem. You're going to keep doing it. But the reason, you're not ever going to diagnose the root cause. And that's what the system's issue is. Like diagnosing, and maybe not even the system's issue. A lot of it can be like um, human done, or like the other end. The person essentially being charged, because when they're being charged, then they get stubborn and they refuse to do work on themselves, or they don't understand. It creates that not understanding. So then they refuse to grow or move forward or try to see why they're there. So they hinder their own growth. We definitely hinder our own growth and are our own worst enemies. So we'll see. I have a little faith in the system left. We'll see how it goes. Um, when I was in jail, my jury trial was rescheduled 3 different times. They just kept continuing the case. Speedy trials, I didn't know. You have to ask for. So then I enacted that later, but I wish I would have known from the beginning, because then maybe it wouldn't have been so grueling and hard and long. But to say the least, I'm grateful for it. I found social work. I found more of a path for me and how I can help humanity, just humans in general. I see I have a gift of healing. I like to have fun. I don't like to dwell on the negative, and so I attract a lot of people that just want to have fun and forget about life without doing drugs. Nobody wants to be a drug addict. People become drug addicts because they're hurting so bad, and then from there, that's where suicide and all that comes into place. And so if we could only just recognize that and help people, the people who are hardest to love are the ones that need it the most, genuinely. I am so grateful for the strangers that showed up and loved me when I was the hardest to love, and not even towards them, Um, I was hard to love, just my parent, like not trusting or whatever reason, like other people, but they did it anyway. And I'm grateful for anybody that can have an honest relationship with me and be respectful of the boundaries that are set in place, that we both set in place. Relationships go two ways. If they were one way, we'd all be getting in head on collisions. And no wonder people, it's happening so often. People don't know where they're going or what they're doing, and they really need to slow down and just sort out their lives. And I'm saying the same for the court, the justice system, because I see how many cases they have and how many, like, mine, I think they're definitely not going to forget about. Like, they're up to date on, because there's so many documents that have been submitted to the court. When people look at it, they're like, whoa, this is like the most brutal thing I've seen. I'm like, really? That sucks. Because I'm the one waking up and living it every day. I was the one going through it. And also, I wished that if you can't give genuine advice, don't ask what's going on. I had a lot of people show up and ask me, "Hey, how are you?" And I'd be like, um, "This is what's going on. I'm not good. Like, he's doing this." And the only response I could get from them would be an "I'm sorry." And don't apologize for anybody's life. It's not your place to apologize for. You can say you're sorry that they're going through that, but I would just get an "I'm sorry." Uh, and that does nothing for me. And maybe some people did say they're sorry I was going through that, but I hated the word "I'm sorry" because everything for me happens for a reason. I find why I'm there. I was not sorry, and I'm still not sorry. I'm still not sorry for any of it. I honestly wish I could have done it bigger and better, maybe next time. I think life is for making mistakes and messing up and trying again, but not to the extent of like abusing people like that. I made a mistake by essentially talking about the abuse that happened in the relationship, and so that's where he violated me on the protective order. And it doesn't matter. I think we need to just stop hurting people more than we're helping. I would like to always leave something better than I had found it when I leave. So if more people took that approach, I think this world would be a lot better place. But I am grateful nonetheless and excited for the change to come and that I bring. And I'm thankful for this experience of going through college. I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be doing anything in the public speaking or putting my voice out there. It's that changed for me over the last 2 years. I never wanted to speak until I looked back and realized my ex had pushed me to the front line of every hard situation that was he thought would be conflicting and was conflicting. So then I had to deal with it, and so I learned to navigate those situations very well, and he did not. So that's the difference. You can be mad about situations that you go through, or you can be grateful that you have a skill that they don't. And that's it.